Hi, Leah. How are you?
I'm all right.
What brings you in today?
Um, well, I have a son, and he's 11, and he had a dress-up day at his school,
Mm-hmm.
and we were shopping to get clothes, and he went straight to the women's clothes. I mean, it is around Halloween,
All right.
but all he wanted to do was get like fairy clothes,
Okay.
and he's a boy.
Right. When he brought you the clothes that he thought he wanted to dress up in, how did you react? What was your initial reaction? Very first thing out of your mouth.
Well, I kind of laughed
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, "You're joking, right? Like, you're a boy. Why would you want to wear a tutu? Like, those are ladies' clothes."
Right.
And he says, "But mommy, they're so pretty." And I said, "Don't you want to look like a big boy?"
Right.
And I took him to the more sporty section.
Mm-hmm.
And
What did he do when you took him there?
he just kind of didn't really pay attention while
So
I
he
was
was not
looking through him.
interested.
No, not at all. He just didn't even care. And I said, "Well, honey, why don't we look at, the superheroes? Or,
Right.
like, do you want to be the Hulk?
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, you could be Dracula. I mean, there are so many other things than being a fairy.
Right.
Like, he's my little boy. Emphasis on the boy."
When did you start to notice that he was not interested in things that you suggested, like superheroes, sports, things of that nature? Did you notice anything out of the ordinary before?
Um, since he was like 8 or 9,
Mm-hmm. And he's 11.
yes, he had been playing with Barbies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just insisted that I buy him Barbies and like little Bratz dolls.
Let me
Um,
ask you, when he played with the Barbies, what what was his scenarios with the Barbie dolls?
he would walk around with a little girl,
Uh-huh.
and she would have her car, and she'd have a really, really good friend who was a girl. And it was like he knew that there was more than just a best friendship going on, but he wasn't, like, he was younger, so it's not like he knew how girls would interact with each other. So I feel like he wanted them to be together like mommy and daddy, you know? And I didn't really know how to handle that, and I didn't want to say no because I tried to let him express himself, but
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't want to go as far as him wearing a tutu because I don't want my child to be picked on. I don't want him to have to go through any bullying. And 11 and 12-year-olds can be mean.
Absolutely. I think that it's great that you are very open to I let me not say just open. Let me say that you're willing to let him express himself.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you don't want to slap him on the hand and say no. I think that is great. That's a great trait as a mother. I want to know more about his home life. What family do you guys have around him? Obviously you're in his life. Who else is in his life?
His dad and um, my sister.
Okay.
That's about it. Whenever I go to work, my sister would come over and watch her or watch him. And I don't know, I mean, what they do while I'm gone. It's not like I have a nanny cam installed or anything. But whenever I'm gone at work during the day, then um, she will watch him, and I guess maybe she plays Barbies with him too. Um, my sister's always been a little out there, anyways. Um, but I wouldn't expect her to be showing my son that, oh, well, there should be same-sex relationships going on in your Barbie dolls.
Absolutely. No one expects um, people to teach other views to your child, as if someone else, family or otherwise. No one expects that. Let me ask you, if you're comfortable, how does your son look at his dad? Is his dad his idol? Is he his best friend? How does he look at his dad?
They're really, really, really close. He's way more of a daddy's boy. He, he loves me and will come sit on my lap and hang out and whatever. But he is really attached to his father.
Okay. How do you feel about their relationship? Do you think it is positive, negative, or otherwise?
I feel like they have a really good relationship. Um, they just, like, they go do things. Like, they do the typical go fishing, throw the ball back and forth.
So he does have an interest in what you would say was typical young boy things. He just has some desire to express himself in a little bit more of a feminine way. Now, when you said you were at the store and he picked up a tutu, it was Halloween time, right? Was he dressing for a costume?
He just wanted to be a fairy.
Looking. Okay. And you said your initial reaction was not negative, but it was that.
I thought it was kind of funny because it was so unexpected, so I laughed. Not like, oh my gosh, my son wants to be a fairy. Not like I was offended or anything, but it was just kind of a shock. So I covered it with a laugh and then tried to, say, well, look at this. Look at your favorite superhero. And then he was like going from superhero to superwoman. More women's costumes. I said, look, you could be a police officer. And he's like, I like this one better. Of course, it was the more risque type police officer. And I just feel like he's too young to be wanting to do such feminine things and wear such feminine outfits.
Let me ask you this, if you don't mind me asking. What do you do for a living?
I work in the medical field.
Okay.
So I work as a CST. I go in and pretty much just help surgeons. Like, I'll hand them certain items. And I work, the normal. Oh, I work from 5:30 to 3:30, like 6.
During the day?
Yeah.
Okay. And how does your son look at you? I mean, I don't mean obviously your mommy. Always loved mommy. Does he seem to get super excited, more excited when you come home rather than dad?
Sometimes, yes. And he likes to dress up more recently with mommy's clothes than daddy's clothes.
Have you ever thought about how and obviously he's 11. We cannot expect broad thoughts from an 11-year-old. Have you ever thought about maybe taking a step back and looking at how he respects women? Could this be something that he's just expressing extreme respect, affection, liking for women? Have you ever noticed anything like that?
There was this incident when we were younger, and he was like 6 or 7, and we were in the store, and there was a girl who was very, very masculine, and he goes up and tugs on her shirt and says, "Are you a boy or a girl?" And I was like, "Honey, you can't just ask that kind of thing, and of course she didn't mind. And she's like, I'm just kind of a manly girl, you know? And that was the end of it. But I mean, it was kind of embarrassing. But I can't scold him for that or think bad of him for that because he doesn't know. But I don't know. It's just so shocking to see these kind of things happening so young.
Well, I would like you to know that role playing with children is very therapeutic for them. I don't want to tell you don't stress over something because it's obviously something that's bothering you.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that role playing with children gives them a chance to put their self in someone else's shoes. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to have, and you haven't mentioned this, I'm just saying it doesn't mean he's going to have gender identification issues or anything like that. It very well could just be a therapeutic thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever be interested in maybe bringing him in and having myself or some other staff work with him on some therapeutic ways of dealing with not just playing with girl Barbies, but maybe introducing family Barbies? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be interested in maybe bringing him in sometime?
I'd be open to anything that you suggest would help
Sure.
because I don't know what to do. I don't really know how to really react to it, and I don't know what I can do as a mother to help.
What are your thoughts? I mean, I know that you reacted in the store with the tutu, with you laughed, a little bit of laughter, and uh, very calmly suggested, let's go to the superheroes, um, and sports and whatnot. What were your thoughts? What was in your head? Was what I want to know.
I just am afraid of. Well, basically, it's it's like if he does grow up and is attracted to men, and he gets severely bullied by it in high school um, or throughout his entire life. I don't want it to be me. I don't want to be the one who just lets him play with Barbies and lets him grow up that way, and then he is in high school and gets bullied so bad that he ends up committing suicide or self-harming. And I mean, that's my baby. You don't want to see that happen to your child, and I don't want to be an enabler. I don't want to just sit there and let it happen if I can do something to put, I mean, at least have there the option of the more manly type things so that they're there in his face so that he can maybe do those instead of something, because I'm just so afraid of him getting bullied, you know. I don't want his life to be hard.
So your main concern is not just that he's interested in fairies and tutus and expressing himself in a more feminine way, but your greater issue is you're worried about him being bullied and the way he'll be looked at and or treated if he does have a different sexual orientation than those around him. Is that right?
Yes, I just don't want to see him get bullied or hurt. That just worries me.
Right. No mother does. Now, is there a history of any bullying? He's in grade school. He's 11, so he's in middle school. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any history of bullying maybe to him or his friends around him? Have you experienced any of that, or has he experienced anything like that yet, or at all?
Everybody loves him. I mean, he's just that funny child who can talk to anybody. I mean, he obviously had no fear going up to some stranger and asking you know, are you a boy or a girl? I mean, he'll go up and talk to anybody. He's a very big people person, and he's very, very friendly. I just, you know, how people are today, if he was a different way, then people may not want to talk to him, and it would be so crushing to him because he is such a people person. He loves interaction with people. He loves to talk to everybody, and it would just be so hard for him to get that rejection.
Absolutely. Well, I think that it's great that you're looking into the future and saying, I'm concerned about something that's going on right now, and I don't want it to escalate and become a problem that he's going to suffer from in the future. I think that that is great that you think forward. I think that it's great that you care about how your son is going to be treated and that you are considering these things now and trying to prepare yourself, your family, and him for, maybe a little bit of a difference because everyone is different.
Mm-hmm.
Every young person has a different upbringing. Every young person looks at things different in a sense that, some people have older siblings that all do the same thing, then there comes the baby, does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other children?
No, it's just him.
Just him. And has he expressed any interest in any sports?
Not really.
No?
He just goes outside to throw the ball with
But he
Daddy
does do
whenever.
that. He does play ball with Dad.
Yeah, but it's just because he would much rather spend time with Dad than go out.
Does he do any other extra activities at school? Is he in any theater? Obviously, you said not sports, correct?
Correct.
Is he in any other activities at school?
He likes to do the class plays. Every single year he's in the class play, and he joins and does the Christmas play every year too, which, I mean, we're not super religious, but anything to get him out and expressing himself, like, I love that. As long as it's not the women's clothing, you know?
So you're very proud of him for being able to express himself in a theatrical way.
Mm-hmm.
You are just concerned about his everyday way of expressing himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does he react when you say, let's go look at NFL jerseys instead of fairy outfits?
I mean, he's a very sweet boy, so he'll go with me. He listens, and he'll be like, oh, okay. And then he'll, pick out the pink one or the purple one. He'll see something in the same area that is more feminine, and he'll go straight to that one. Because for some reason they put the belly dancer costumes next to the football costumes, so I couldn't just get him to look at the football costumes. He's like, ooh, this is pretty, and goes to that. And so it's just, I mean, there's no real boys section anymore. It's all just mixed in together a lot of places that you go. So it's hard to get him to focus on things that I think would be good for him. And I know I shouldn't really force that on him. I try as hard as I can to let him do the type of things that he would want. But I just feel like if he goes to school in women's type clothing, that it's just going to be really hard for him, and I don't want to see that.
Well, I think it's great, again, that you are concerned about future issues that he may run into. Have you thought about explaining to him that everyone is different and that people react to different things in a negative form sometimes? Have you brought that up to him at all to try to maybe prepare him for accepting that he may be different or likes different things than his friends around him or school, people in his school, whatnot? Have you explained that people react different to things, maybe?
I haven't, but I really do like that idea. I feel like if I try to explain to him that the reason why I'm not getting him the women's clothing, the all the pink things and that kind of stuff, because I feel like it could affect him negatively, that might make sense. Um, I think I should try that.
I agree. I think it would be very beneficial. It's always beneficial in any situation to be prepared. I mean, when you, obviously being in the medical field, are going into even just a, pre any kind of medical surgery, procedure, or anything, you always come in prepared. And there's an explanation, and the patient is prepped. There's always a sense of being prepared. I think to instill that into your son would be very beneficial, even if you don't necessarily say, if you go to school in a pink shirt, they're going to make fun of you. But even make it more broad and just explain in reason that people don't always accept people that are different in a positive way. Could simply be that he they make fun of tall people and everyone around them is average size, or short people. Maybe not specific things quite yet at that age, but I definitely think that preparing him and giving him the understanding that people react to different things differently would be very beneficial, and I think it would give you some peace of mind for him to be prepared for things around. I definitely think you should try that. I also think it would be beneficial for you, like I said early on in our session, to bring him in and maybe do some role play therapy, and maybe he could get some of that out of his system if it's a temporary thing, or if he's got something that he can't verbally express, that he's trying to express with his role playing. And like I said, I think that preparing him would be great. But before we go, we're just about out of time. Before we go, I'd like to know your plans. What do you really want to do to start the process of dealing with this situation?
I think that I could sit him down and have that kind of talk, like you mentioned, about that there are just some people out there that aren't as open-minded as everybody else or the other people. That there can be differences in opinion, and there can be differences in personality, and no two people are alike. Talk to him about why I've kind of strayed away from not letting him wear that kind of clothing to school or out in public, just subtly talking about it, waiting to get more in depth in it. And I also think that I would like to see about making an appointment so that he can come in and do that kind of role-playing thing as well, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Well, I hope to see you guys in here soon. Thank you.
Thank you.